right, CPAC. What number CPAC is this for you?
This is number 3.
What kind of differences have you seen since your first one to this one?
I think it's about doubled in size, to be honest with you, especially compared to last year. I think the number of people that are attending all the speeches, not just the main kind of draws, has been really impressive. A lot of energy. I think this is the biggest one I've ever seen.
So what do you do?
What do I do? I'm the editor-in-chief of the IowaRepublican.com. So we follow, it's a online website that focuses on Iowa politics. So we focus on the presidential caucuses and everything that's going on in Iowa politically.
So size up the Iowa caucuses right now. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's wide open, to be real honest with you, and I think a lot of it will determine on what Mike Huckabee and what Sarah Palin, choose to do. If they don't run, I think the field's wide open. I think thus far I've tried to watch every presidential contender's speech in the room, and I think after this I'll probably size them all up again and see who did well and who didn't.
What kind of action do you see on the ground in Iowa by anybody?
Right now, I think that Palenti probably has the most things in place, but it's kind of a quiet organization. And I think we'll see a lot come together after the June primaries, and I think we'll start really seeing who's taking Iowa seriously and who's really planning on running for president.
Do you have anybody here that's really impressed you, whether they're running for president, they're not, but just anybody that's really stuck out in your mind?
Not necessarily. We're spoiled as Iowans, so the bar's a little bit elevated. I think the one thing that I just watched Congressman Mike Pence give a speech. I thought between his introduction, the issue set in which he talked about clearly indicates that I think he's going to consider or probably move forward with the presidential run. I thought he gave a good, solid speech that kind of hit on all three legs of the stool in terms of national defense, economic policy, and social conservative issues. So I thought he's the one who probably got my attention the most in terms of, hey, look at me, I'm positioning for a run.
Right now in the country, you have two very competitive primaries for the U.S. Senate that are going on. You have Charlie Crist in Florida running against Marco Rubio. Mr. Rubio has been at CPAC, gave a speech yesterday. You have J.D. Hayworth, former congressman, running against Senator John McCain in Arizona. J.D. Hayworth is here today, just gave an interview here, and he's speaking at CPAC later. If you look at both of those races, you have two younger Republicans running against two more senior Republicans. Just as you size up those races, what do you think what is going on? What's going on in the conservative movement? What's going on in the party? And what will we be able to tell from the results of those races?
I think the two that you described there are a little bit different. I think that Rubio is more of while he's been a local elected official, he hasn't served in Congress where Hayworth has. So I think there's a difference in the race between Hayworth and McCain and Rubio and Crist. I think the one thing that I've kind of determined is that I think conservatives aren't afraid to fight anymore. And I think they're willing to come out and primary someone that maybe they would have been uncomfortable doing that earlier on. So it's fascinating just to see the willingness to say, you know what, yes, you're a Republican. Yes, I'm with you on some issues. But I think we're looking at who's really best to serve us. And now I think these are two very high-profile primaries that will kind of determine maybe future politics where we'll have, or in future campaigns, where we're not going to be unwilling to primary maybe an entrenched Republican elected official.
So CPAC has a straw poll. We're going to have one
I just
here.
took it.
You just took it.
I just took it.
Any predictions on who will win? Romney won last year, is that right?
Sure, I think Romney's won the last 3 years, so this is his fourth. I would probably expect him to win again. I expect Ron Paul to do extremely well. They teased that he was going to be speaking in the room earlier, and it erupted. He's got a young, passionate following. I think he's going to do well in that straw poll. I don't think there's a lot to draw from it. I mean, since it's a kind of a national sampling, and maybe some people work it more than others. But I was impressed with the list of choices they put together. I pretty much agree with it for the most part.
One last question. If people want to find out about Iowa caucus politics,
Sure.
Iowa politics, where do they go to find you?
They go to the iowarepublican.com. Everything they need's there.